Good afternoon, Altitude Tech Life. I've been wanting to make this video for a while and go over my Ego Power equipment. Some of my friends have been asking about it, and over the last few years I've actually acquired the majority of the key Ego pieces that they have. And I just want to give my thoughts and my opinion on all of them. As you see here, I have the pressure washer, I have the lawnmower, the shop vac. Up here I actually have the snowblower. I'm not going to be pulling down the snowblower, but I'll definitely talk about that. And then over here on the wall is probably some of the more unique tools that I have. So it all starts right here with the Ego multi-head. We'll go over that in a little bit of detail. I have the power brush, which has turned out to be one of my favorite pieces of Ego equipment. And then up here I actually have the snow shovel. And then this is a hedge trimmer on a pole, which has been great. My weed whacker utility, the chainsaw utility, as well as a gardening dirt mover guy, not really sure, cultivator maybe, if that's the name of it. Only really used this once. I used this to loosen all the dirt in the back of my house where my hot tub was going to go so that I could level the ground. Actually did a really good job doing that, and it was well worth buying it so that I could easily shovel that dirt around a little bit easier since it was so compact back there. But let's go ahead and start over here with the pressure washer. Now I'm going to show you some videos of the pressure washer. So it's a 3200 psi 1.2 gallons per minute pressure washer. It's battery powered. It takes 2 of the Ego batteries in here. I have, what do I have, 5 or 6 Ego batteries total. That's one thing that if you're going to get this ecosystem, what you need to do is get a tool and get the set of batteries that come with it. These things go on sale all the time throughout the year. Just depends on what's going on, and most of the time there's something on sale that includes the batteries in a charger. I actually have probably 3 or 4 extra Ego chargers. I don't use most of them. I only use 2. I just have them mounted up on my workbench, and it's been no problem charging. But it's cheaper in a lot of cases to buy the batteries with the piece of equipment than it is to buy the piece of equipment separately and then buy batteries on top of that, or just in some cases even buying just the piece of equipment. So I could tell you that you definitely want to see what is on sale, what's out there. All of these have their benefits of buying them with the battery typically. So definitely look at the prices, shop around. I got most of this equipment, by the way, off of Amazon. Some of them I've gotten at Lowe's, and I think the shop vac I got at Ace. But it's all Ego, it's all under the same warranty, which I'll talk about in a little bit too. So under the pressure washer, this is not the strongest pressure washer that there is, and I'm going to go into a little bit more detail on that. And here's that video right now. Alright everybody, it's Pat. So I have the new Ego pressure washer here. 3200 psi 1.2 gallons per minute is what it's rated at. What I want to do is show you a video of how this thing actually performs. One thing I like is the nice little storage rack that it has up here for the different nozzles. I have found the most effective nozzle so far has been the turbo nozzle, as well as the 15-degree nozzle. I had a Honda gas pressure washer, and that thing was real beast. It was super loud though, to the point where my neighbors would actually complain a little bit about the noise if I used it for an extended period of time. But right now this thing is not an issue whatsoever in that regards, and the 25-degree nozzle does a pretty good job for some stuff, and I'll show you that in a little bit. The 40-degree nozzle I typically don't use. It just doesn't have enough power and pressure. I also like how it stores, how it's on wheels and the rollers and everything. So I have my water turned on. I have my water line I'm going to turn on here in a second. So one thing I really like too is the hose. It rolls up really well, and it unrolls really nicely too. And I found that these fittings on the end so far have been really durable. Nice brass fittings, and so far they've worked really good. Let's go ahead and plug it in here. So you can see there, nice good connection. The end of the nozzle here, so you can push it in there. So it's a little loose when you push it in. It stays in though. To tighten that up, you just turn the threads like so, and it's nice and tight. So one thing that I typically like to do is when I turn on my water, I always have air in my line. So I'll just hold this, and you can see we definitely have some pressure washing to do. And I try to get all the air out of the line before I run it, so I'll just turn it on. Another thing to note, I can push the button here, and it's really hard to see, but it doesn't turn on until I actually turn on the unit itself. So we'll just give it a second here. I'm going to go ahead and turn the unit on. I have 2 batteries in here, by the way. One of them wasn't fully charged, the other one's fully charged. It's a 5 amp and a 6 amp. I do have more batteries, and I do find this thing eats up battery power quite a bit, especially when you have it on turbo mode. So now that I have it on, you could probably see that when I push the button, not only do I get my power indicator and strength indicator, but I push it again and I can change the modes on it. So we're in turbo mode right now, which is what I found to be the best. Let's go ahead and show you what the 40-degree nozzle looks like, just so you can see. And it's not going to be bad. It's just not typically in the strength that I need for the applications I use. So you can see here, it's actually not horrible for just cleaning off dirt on a deck. Yep, there's that air in the line I was talking about. Probably going to be another burst here as well. So again, the 40-degree is one that I typically don't use too much. Let's go ahead and show you what the 25 looks like. This is one I use quite a bit. I found that some of the tire debris that I have from my truck doesn't come off very easily. Even with the 15, it doesn't come off. But the 25 I'll use for a lot of applications. It's got a good little spray to it. You can see that here. And you can see on the wood here, there's some more air. And we're gonna do this. I need to restain my deck. So we're just trying to clean it a little bit. So even that is not powerful enough. You can see that I am in turbo mode here. So I can do a little bit better. Let's go ahead and show you what the good old 15-degree looks like. The other nozzle down there, by the way, is more of a rinse. And actually, let me show you that really fast here. And I don't know if I've ever used this one before. Oh, and you know what? So this is the one thing that I've noticed too. Some of these, like the soap gun, which I can show you later on, that I use, don't allow you to have the extension on. You have to just use the hand nozzle. So this is just, if you just wanted to get stuff wet, the soap attachment, the foam gun attaches the same way, has very similar pressure. I'm actually really impressed with the foam gun, by the way. It does a really good job. But I'll probably never use that one, honestly. So let's go ahead and get this connected back up. And you can see it's got a nice good connection there. Again, the fittings and everything have really held up well. I've had this thing about a year. And make sure that we're on the turbo. So we're good to go. So let's go ahead and put on the turbo nozzle itself. This again is the one that I'm using primarily most of the time. I'm not sure, from a pressure standpoint it's not the most, but the way that it spins with the water, it seems to do the best job cleaning stuff. So here we go, just like this. And what's nice is it's not pulling away the wood like my previous pressure washer did. So one thing, my Blackstone gets incredibly dirty. I got this stuff off of Amazon. It's easy off, and it has done an amazing job cleaning this thing so far. I only sprayed it down once, and I just threw some water on top of it. I didn't even use a pressure washer. So we're gonna go ahead and really try to get her clean today. Like I said, the deck is absolutely filthy, and we need to get everything all cleaned up. Love these magnetic bars too. They do a great job. This version of the Blackstone actually came with some pads that went where those bars are that were magnetic. They ended up getting burned from the utensils and the tools and everything. These things have been amazing. I actually use them inside my travel trailer to hold all my utensils in there, various places. Wow. So I've used the pressure washer on this thing before with no chemical or just like some Dawn soap, and I've definitely not had these results like this before. It looks like I gotta do a little bit in the back there, but still, compared to the results I had before, this is amazing. All right, so you can see here that pressure washer does a great job. That cleaning spray, again, this is the easy off degreaser heavy duty, is fantastic. Without this, we definitely wouldn't have gotten most of that off. So I'm excited that my Blackstone's gonna start looking a little bit newer than it used to. Here's what I'll say about this pressure washer. It's not as strong as a gas pressure washer. I think a lot of that has to do with the fact it's only 1.2 gallons per minute. And on top of that, I question if you're truly getting 3,200 PSI with some of the different nozzles on. I think you have to go for, you know, the 15 degree, and it has to be so far away or something. I'm not sure how they devise the rating system. I don't know if there's a standard or not. But what I will say is, for my application, I love this thing because I can store it really easily in my house. It seems to just be built really solid, even though it is plastic. The majority of it, it's really heavy duty plastic. I stored my hose right back here, and it just attaches with this thing right there, that little rubber strap. The wheels are really strong. It's super lightweight. I just carried it through the house with the batteries in it, keep in mind. And it's convenient to use. My gas pressure washer, I had to make it an event to use the gas pressure washer. This thing I don't need to make it an event. On top of that, I'm really happy with the hose that was provided, the fittings that were provided. So far, those handles held up really, really good too. It's overall a really good setup, and I highly recommend it if you have an ecosystem. This is a really user-friendly option, and I definitely recommend it. It's great for washing cars, and I'll see if I can get a video of that shortly here and included it as well. It's good for, you know, doing sidewalks, patios, decks. I spray the side of the house, get siding with it. Anything where you need a pressure washer around the house, this thing's been a super user-friendly tool. So let me know if you have any questions, and I'd be happy to answer them for you. So one thing that I didn't mention in that video was how long do the batteries last. I can tell you typically I'll get about 15 minutes of turbo pressure with the 2 batteries. Now, I was just out on my deck doing a bunch of work out there, and like I said, I have 5 or 6 batteries, and I never ran out of power between all of my batteries, and I was working out there for the last 2 hours. By the time the last set of batteries that I had ran out of power, the other set that was charging was done charging, and I just put those back in and swapped them out. So I've never had problems running out of power at all. I will tell you that this probably eats up more power than any of the tools. The snowblower is a close second, but that's not even too bad. The lawnmower honestly could go forever. I've never run out of power on my lawnmower with just 1 battery. But you know, I really do love this pressure washer. It's portable, it's easy to maneuver, has a great little handle here. You know, the wheels are really solid, and it just does a really, really good job. I'm happy with all the nozzles. I'm happy with the build quality of it. If you are looking for a pressure washer and you are just an average user, an average pressure washer person, I highly recommend this one. It's not as strong as a gas, you know, Honda powered pressure washer, but it's not that far off from it either. And it gets done the majority of what I need it to get done. And in some cases, it's probably a little bit better because a lot of times I've probably overdone it in years past, and maybe you see some wood flying out of the deck or something like that. So this is a really, really, really good option. So next I want to go on to the lawnmower. This is one where, I don't know, I'm kind of 50-50 on it. I did get the self-propelled model, and let's talk about the things that I like about it. I like the storage of it. Typically, when I have this, it's stored just like that, and I can put it up against the wall. It's light, it's easy to maneuver. That's one thing I really enjoy about it. I like the build quality. For the most part, it's pretty easy. Just pull this handle, plop it up. I release the 2 clips on the side here, open those up, and we're good to go. So I'm a tall person, I'm 6'7", and this actually is a really, really good height for me. Everything on here has been really solid. This is the first piece of Ego equipment that I've had. So you can use either of these levers right here to propel it forward. And this is how you turn it on. You hold the button down and then you pull the lever. and then you hold this and the blades go on. This is how you adjust your speeds, and there is a headlight in case you want to cut the grass at night, which I have yet to do, but there is that option there. What I don't like about this, and I guess what I do like, is there's just deck height adjustments right here. Really easy to do. So I started keeping mine on 5 to keep my grass a little bit longer. Found out that that's a little bit better for my yard. So here's why I'm kind of 50-50 on this. I look at my neighbor's yard. He's got a Ryobi, and his grass is just, it looks great. That Ryobi seems to be cutting his yard so well. I know a lot of that has to do with his grass itself. I imagined at some point he's leveled his grass. He treats it really well. I've tried to emulate it, but honestly, I spend my time elsewhere a lot, so I don't spend it all in the yard. One thing that I've done to this that I've made it a lot better was the blade on the bottom. So this is the version where it's self-propelled, but it comes with a single blade. This is not the multi-select blade is what it's called. But what I found out this year is that with just a few parts from Amazon, I now have the multi-select blade with the 2 blades on the bottom. And ever since I've put these 2 blades under here, this thing has been fantastic. I don't have any issues with it missing grass anymore, where, you know, some pieces will just be left over afterwards. It does use a little bit more battery, but nothing that's horrible. The motor doesn't work super hard at all. I thought it might work a little bit harder. If anything, it's actually quieter. And I had switched out the blades, by the way. I had the high lift single blade on here, and I had the mulching blade, and I've also tried a straight blade. None of them did a good job when it was just a single blade by itself. With this setup right here, I actually am happy with this lawnmower. I have no need to change this out for a different version. The width of it does a really good job, and again, it's lightweight enough to where I don't have to worry about trying to, you know, store it somewhere else or maneuver it. It does a really good job. So if you don't get the version with 2 blades, you're not going to be happy. You can get the single version though, at least my model here, and I'll find that for you and put it out there. You can get this, and I've converted mine on my own. Do it at your own risk. I'm willing to do it because it wasn't a great lawnmower without these 2 blades. So just my thoughts on it. A lot of people, by the way, on Reddit, on different forums, will talk about pressure and how you don't want to be pushing down on the back of it. You want more weight on the front of it. I don't think that had to do anything with it, because typically if I'm pushing it, I'm pushing forward on it. I'm not lifting up, I'm not pushing down in regards to the deck. I think my yard probably needs to be leveled at some point, but now that I've got these 2 blades on here, this thing doesn't miss cutting any grass, and it does a really good job. So again, if you're gonna go ego, be sure you get the lawnmower with 2 blades, or be willing to do the conversion like I did. Let me know if you have more questions on it. Now here's a piece of equipment that actually really surprised me. I just got this one probably 6 months ago or so. It was right when it actually came out, and I've been super happy with it. This is the Shop Vac by Ego, and I think what I like about it is just the simplicity and the ease of use for it. So you can see here, it's got nice little hose storage clips there. To get the top of it off, to see the actual inside, there are these little paddles here you push on the side, and you just lift it off. And then what I like about it is it comes with a bag from Ego, and all of your debris and everything goes inside here. There's also an attachment in here if you need like a squeegee attachment. I have used this, believe it or not. So pulling this off is super simple. You just take the bag out, and now all of a sudden you have yourself a wet vac. Really easy to use. Oh, there's that. You can see the bottom of it, the filter. Again, really easy system, really easy to clean and to just take care of it. We changed some stuff out in our bathroom. We actually had a leak in one of our toilets in the house, and I used this to clean up the bathroom, and it did a fantastic job. The other thing I like about it is it comes with this little remote control right here. And it sounds silly, but how this works is it goes right here on the hose, and it is a flashlight. And as much as you think you would never use that, here's one of the nifty little attachments. You put that in there, now you have a flashlight at the end of the attachment, and when you're trying to get down into dark spaces, it does a great job. Let me go ahead and just throw a battery in here, and I'll show you how this works. So again, lightweight piece of equipment. The portability of this, I can't understate. Here's also on the hose a little adjustment, so you can adjust the suction power in addition to the speeds that are on here. So the first thing you do, turn it on, and it's gonna get really loud, but what I'll do is I'll hit the start mode, I'll go through the different speeds, and I'll show you the remote too. So there we go. And we'll just go ahead and... So you can see here, we're on the high speed. Here's low speed. You can also see my suction. And then if I want to go to turbo, it's now in turbo mode. And there you have it. And again, the reason I like the remote is because I don't have to go back to the vacuum every time and mess around with it. And I like the little light guy. Other thing that I really enjoy about this is all the different attachments and the storage options. So you can see in here, we got different brushes that will attach to the end inside. Here's a little smaller one for more attachments. This thing right here, push the button, comes off, slider inside. Sometimes these go in one way and not the other, and sometimes I can never remember. Yeah, it goes in that way. Goes in like that. In the back, you have more attachments. So those are where the pipes come out, which I really like. My old one used to be the one where, you know, they stand up vertically along the outside of it, just more of a traditional shop vac, I guess you can say. And then it has just a traditional head on it. Again, this thing's been great for us in the applications that we've had to use for it so far around the house. It's been really easy. What I liked about it is that my wife has found this super easy to use. Usually if something's bigger, a little bit heavier, she's not wanting to do it. So that means I have to go do it. With this thing, she's willing to go out there and grab it herself and throw a battery on and use it. So if you're looking for a shop vac, highly, highly recommend this if you have the ecosystem already. It's a no-brainer in my book, and it's a really easy tool to use. So let me know if you have any questions on this one. Okay, onto the snowblower. So apologies for not climbing up there and getting it down. One of the things that I love about Ego is the ability to store everything in various places. These shelves here I got from Amazon, heavy duty shelves that hang down, can take a few hundred pounds of weight, no problem. And the Ego snowblower weighs around 70 pounds. So this is a no-brainer situation for me. It's summertime. I don't need my snowblower down here. It saves room in my garage. My garage is already tight. Here's the thing with this snowblower. This is probably one of the cheaper snowblowers that Ego makes. You can see right down here, I actually took off the chute for the top, but it works. I have a very small driveway, really, really short. I have a sidewalk in front of it. On top of that, I live in Colorado, and this is a south-facing driveway. I've lived in this house now for close to 10 years, and I rarely have to shovel my driveway because it's south-facing. If you're from Colorado, you understand exactly what I'm talking about. But what happens is sometimes there are storms where we get a ton of snow, a few feet at least, and I need to get my driveway shoveled off because it's just not going to melt anytime soon. and you know, we're expected to have the sidewalks clear. It's the polite thing to do for the neighbors. And on top of that, you know, it's good for people delivering packages or visiting to have a nice clean driveway. So I will blow it off. I was using the snow shovel here, and I do use this from time to time. I actually use this more on my deck. I'll pull that down in a second. But this here was on sale. I want to say I paid under $400 for it at the time, and it came with two 5 amp hour batteries. 5 amp hour batteries are not the longest lasting batteries, but I could tell you that I'm able to do about a foot of snow on my driveway, my whole entire sidewalk in front of me, plus my neighbor's sidewalk further down the road as well, and a little bit up that way, without having to change out the batteries. So it's hit or miss depending on how much snow it is, if I've driven on the snow or not. This is a single stage, I believe. It's not a dual stage snowblower. So how it works is the augers in the front spin, and that power shoots it out the top. What I do love is the handle on the top for adjusting the direction of where the snow is going. It's super easy to use, and it just is it's a really good, easy snowblower for a situation like me where you don't have a giant driveway and maybe you're only clearing snow off. I mean, granted, this year I probably used it 5 or 6 times because we had some bigger snowfalls, but you know, where you're not going to be getting feet and feet and feet every other day. One thing about this that I was a little surprised about, maybe a little disappointed on, so you might want to look for a different version on it. For me, it wasn't a big deal. It still isn't. This is not a self-propelled snowblower. What that means is that I've had a version before. It was actually a John Deere with little rubber kind of pads on the blades, and those would grab the pavement and pull it forward as you kind of pushed and lifted forward a little bit, and that would help propel it forward. This one is only propelled if you're biting into the snow and have a good chunk of snow, then it moves forward, but it doesn't do as good of a job as something that was actually running kind of on that pavement. These wheels are completely free spinning wheels, so there's no drive units in the wheels. For me, it's not a big deal. My wife actually used a snowblower once just because she wanted to try it out. So I've been really happy with this snowblower. I probably would get the exact same one again just because of the price of it, plus it came with the batteries. It was really an easy move for me. So again, model number and all the information in the description below. Let me know if you have any questions on this. Okay, let's go ahead and talk about something here that I actually never thought I would buy. This is a pure sine wave inverter by Ego. This model number, I think it's the 400W is the model number. And what this does, you put an Ego battery on it, and oops. So Ego battery on it. It's got a little handle here. One thing with the handle is, you know, when it's down, it's out of the way. When you're holding it like this, works fine. No problem with it. But the cord and the handle can kind of get in the way a little bit. Would have been nice maybe if it was a little bit bigger, could go over the battery. Not a big deal. How it works, you hold down the power button here, and what it does is it turns on all these different USB outlets. You can see here there's a 100-watt USB-C in out. So if I wanted to, I could actually charge this battery off of a wall charger, just a USB-C 100-watt, like an Apple MacBook Pro wall charger would charge this. I don't know how long it would take, but in theory, what, 4 hours, right? Depends on the battery, amps, and whatnot. Anyways, where I used this was for camping. I was going to get a Jackery, and they had some really good prices on a lot of them. There's other brands out there too that actually are, in some cases, a lot better than Jackery, especially for the price. But I already had the Ego set up. They make the big battery bank or power inverter that looks more like a generator. I needed this for the reason I needed 120, 110 was because of my CPAP in my travel trailer. I know that they make inverters for batteries on the travel trailer, and you know, they'll make inverters for the CPAPs actually, where you can run it just off of 12 volt, things like that. I didn't want to mess with all of that. I wanted something where I'd have some options to run a wall outlet off of battery power, regardless if it was my CPAP or not. And I can tell you, I am so happy I bought this thing. I plugged my CPAP in here with just a 5 amp hour battery. I have a heated and climate controlled tube on my CPAP, and plug it in, it runs all night, no problem. Another thing that I found that I used this for camping was I plugged my Starlink Mini into the inverter here, and I don't have to leave my truck running. I have an electric truck, as most of you know. I don't have to leave that running to keep the power on to charge, or to keep my Starlink running. I plug this in and it will run most of the day off of one of these batteries. So this thing's been awesome. One thing about it, if there's no power draw after a while, or if you have a way light power draw, it will auto shut off over time. Another thing that it actually has some lights on the side here. I just used these the other day in the truck. Had to change out a fuse, and this thing did a great job with the little lights. There's 2 light settings on it. So if you are looking for an easy solution for a power inverter, you already have the Ego ecosystem, I can't recommend this enough. It's a real simple choice. And again, I believe this is the new upgraded version that they had. There was another one out there, but this one I've been extremely happy with. So yeah, let me know if you have any questions on it. All right, let's go ahead and go over to the Ego power wall, I guess you could call it. So have a bunch of different attachments, as you probably saw in a previous clip here, but I want to go through each of them. So this is the blower that I got. I believe I got this as a combo blower in combination with the multi-head unit that I have here. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. So let's go over the blower first. It's just your standard Ego blower. This one is the, let's see, what model did I get here? Yep, this is the 650 CFM. So it's a 650 CFM. They had made, at the time I bought this, there was one unit that was a little bit more powerful than this one. That unit, I just decided to go with this one. Now, you're probably wondering, boy, that's a really short attachment on the front. Yes, it is actually. And this came with a standard longer attachment, and I think another one that attaches to that. This I got for drying my truck when I was washing my truck. So it actually does a pretty good job, but it's so easy to maneuver that I decided that, you know what, I'm just going to leave it on because it's easy to maneuver. So there's a few ways to turn it on. One, this dial here will turn it so that you can leave it set and on at whatever speed you dial it on. The trigger does the same thing. And then there's the turbo button. So my son's sleeping, so I'm going to go outside real quick while I do this, because this is probably the loudest tool out of all of them. I go ahead and pull the trigger. There's turbo. So this thing does a fantastic job at blowing. I do not regret not getting the bigger one. This has been more than adequate for me, so really happy with this blower. Again, it's all about the pricing in my eyes when it comes to these things. I wouldn't recommend going lower than the 650, but for me it was the right price, it was the right way to go. So let's go ahead and grab this guy here. So this is the Ego multi-head, and this one is the carbon fiber version. Now you're probably thinking, oh, that's so lightweight, that's so awesome. It's not that much more lightweight than the aluminum version, but this one has a few advantages on it. So it has the multi-speed selector on here, and let's go ahead and put the battery in here. So you can see it's on low, it's on high, and it will turn on, by the way, with nothing on the front. How this works, by the way, there's just a little shaft in there that connects to your tools and just spins the shaft of the tool. Now, here's what I like about this. The multi-head to me is the way to go. If you're gonna get an ecosystem and you do not have a weed whacker yet, or even if you do, and you need another tool, when you get the multi-head system, the world of tools opens up to you to where you don't have to have all of the big separate tools one by one hanging down with each other. The reason I got the carbon fiber was actually because of this right here. And you're gonna think I'm nuts, but I don't know anyone that likes changing out their string trimmer, including me. So what I'm gonna do for you is just pull out all of the string that I have. All right, got that figured out. So normally what happens is when you run out of string, the last piece just kind of flies out real quick. Reason that I got this version, and I am still glad that I got this version, and if again you are going to get a string trimmer and you want to save $30, $40, I don't even know what the price difference is anymore. Look it up online. They're probably all on sale because again these things are always on sale. This one came with a battery. It was only the 4 amp hour battery that it came with, but it's 4 amp hours for this thing's more than enough power, especially for the string trimmer. Here's why I love this. Changing the string on this cannot be any easier. So what you do, you find the little hole right here, you feed it through, it comes through to the other side just like this. You pull it until you have about the same length, and I typically do this on the ground, so I gotta pull a little bit more. That looks about right there. So you have this, and then this is where the magic happens right here. So again, keep them far apart, and then battery in, push this button. And there you go. Boom. I just wound up all of that string. I have yet to have an issue where I've had to pull the thing apart, other than literally just now for this video, where you know, I've got string everywhere going crazy, this and that. One thing, the string that came with this wasn't the best string, if I recall. I ended up picking up this pre-cut string from Ego off the shelf somewhere. So this is the, what is that, AL242OP or 0P, and this stuff has worked pretty good. So it's the 0.095 inch thickness, and it's got the twist in the line. It holds up pretty good. I typically only have to change these out, you know, once they wear out, maybe twice a season, if that. So been really happy with this string trimmer. And again, the reason that I love the carbon fiber edition is it because it came with the auto wind head. Now let's go ahead and look at some of the other attachments. So go ahead and take this off, push the button, it pulls right out. I just used the Rubbermaid Fast Track system for storage, by the way. It's worked pretty good. No issues holding all the equipment up. So this is the one I want to show you. Now, it looks a little funny right now because I actually use this to dethatch my grass. If you pull the little bolt out of the front of this thing, which is right up in this area here, you take it off of this, turn it around, and you use it as a dethatcher. And it does a really good job. I cannot tell you how happy I've been with this little broom. And these are just really hard. I'm guessing there's some type of polymer brushes. It's not full wire, but they seem like a heavy-duty plastic. So this thing here is probably the one utensil that gets used the most. Where I use it is in the garage most of the time. I also use it outside. Remember when I told you sometimes you gotta twist a little bit? Sometimes you gotta hit the power as well to get this thing to line up right. There it goes. So this thing does a great job. Here we go. And you can see now, I want to talk about a little bit of the drawback of the multi-head unit, and this only happened once, and I think it was mainly for the snow shovel attachment, so I'm really careful of it. These things can get really heavy. If you grab the handle and start lifting it up, you're putting a ton of pressure in this area right here. I actually had mine crack the carbon fiber right here about a year ago, and I had to go through the Ego warranty process to get it fixed. It did end up getting fixed, but that process took way longer than it should have. It took too many phone calls that it should have, but at the end of the day it did get resolved. There was I'd say an issue between the place that was supposed to repair it, the Ego repair shop, which was Ace Hardware repair shop by me, and Ego itself. It's probably more the repair shop than Ego, but nonetheless it was a process to get it fixed, but it did get fixed. So you got to be careful with these. What I've started doing when I have these is actually grabbing them a little bit lower to transport them, because these heads get so heavy. But where I use this thing mainly is in the garage in the winter. Cars pull in here, there's tons of road, just ice frozen on them with the road dirt and sand and whatnot all over your garage. This thing does awesome getting it all out. So my garage isn't horribly dirty with dirt, since I try to stay on it a little bit, but you can see that it just does a great job. If there's any dirt and debris that you might have. So if you were looking for a power broom, this thing's awesome. This thing will also work in the snow for those that just get little tiny dustings. Does a great job in the snow. Speaking of snow, let's go ahead and grab this attachment down. Now I only use this now that I have the snowblower on my deck mainly. How did I get this up here? There we go. And the reason being is, again, this thing's so heavy. Now I have the little snowblower. I don't really need anything else, but this thing does awesome. And I'll try to find a video I have in my camera up front where showing how this thing works, but it's like you're vacuuming your driveway. So it's got this little knob here you push down. It changes the little blade direction of the snow. And again, it just hooks up the same way, and it throws the snow. It actually throws it really, really far. So if I find that video, I'll insert it here. And if I don't, it works good if you've got a small space, if you have a deck. Even a driveway like ours, it actually worked really good on. I just saw that deal on that snowblower and it came with the batteries, so I decided to pull the trigger on it. Otherwise I would have just stuck with this. Again, this is a heavy attachment. Be sure you're supporting it the right way so you don't end up having to do a warranty claim through Ego like I did. All right. So next on the list is the Hedge trimmer. This thing was great. I got this the other, last year I think I got it. And it's just your typical hedge trimmer out on a pole and attaches again to the multi-head. This thing's got some length to it. I can get all the way up to the top of my, well, not to the top, but close to the top of the tree up there and trim, which I need to do pretty soon here anyways. Super sharp blades, be careful as always, but does a real good job. What's that? Oh, you want to see a demo? Got it. Okay. let's go ahead and put it in. Let's see here. There it goes. Like I said, sometimes you just gotta finagle it a little, but then it's in. So you can see the length of this thing. Now I'm pretty tall again. So let's go ahead and let's just cut off one of these. There you go. Demonstration complete. So yeah, this was a real cool tool. Really happy with this one. Bought it just last year. Kind of went without one for a while, but had to clean up my yard. Everyone knows how that goes. The blades again are really sharp, so just be sure you take care not to injure yourself. And there you go. Next on the list, let's see here. So I'm probably not going to show you the little cultivator guy. It does a great job ripping up the dirt. I wish I had a video of this, because it did awesome. I had a bunch of packed in clay dirt in my backyard, and I had to level it out, and I only had to move about that much. But trying to do that when it was compact with a shovel, I was regarding my decision not to hire that out, honestly. Once I bought this, it loosened up the dirt instantly. It was easy to maneuver, easy to handle. It took what I had done in maybe about a day or two of, you know, working back there for a few hours at a time, trying to move the dirt and shovel through it, to maybe an hour-long job total. Because this just did such a good job digging in and loosening up all that dirt. So it was awesome. This here is one of the tools that most people don't have. It's a chainsaw. So it's a little guy, but for my house, this is all I need. And I have some trees in the back. We get a lot of wind here. Sometimes that wind breaks branches and they're not completely broken off. This thing will reach up. Again, it's got a long pole, long arm on it, attaches to the multi-head, key element there, and does a great job cutting. I don't have anything that needs cutting, and I'm not going to go cut one of my trees for the video. If I do have video of this, or if I do end up using it sometime, I'll make sure that I can make one and show you how it works. But again, this thing has been a really good, useful tool. Really comfortable using it, and really no concerns whatsoever. So that looks to be it for what I have for the Ego ecosystem. This is an ecosystem. There are many out there. Not all of them are the same. So Ryobi seems to be doing a pretty good job with them. Even Greenworks has been doing a good job with it. One thing that I'm going to invest in pretty soon here is going to be a robot lawnmower for the backyard. I want to try one of those out. I have a ton of robot vacuums in the house because we have a golden retriever that just sheds like crazy. So I've had many robot vacuums, and I need to do some reviews on those too. But you gotta pick an ecosystem, and you gotta go with it. Do your research. If it's not Ego, pick another one that overall has all the tools that you want and has the setup that will work for you and for your house. For me, I've been really happy with Ego. A lot of it is all plastic, but it's heavy duty, and it seems to be really well made. I can't complain at all really about the reliability. Pressure washer, super reliable. Does a great job washing my car, my deck, my house. I'll pressure wash out the garage. I have a spinning floor attachment, by the way. It powers that even and does a good job. Lawnmower, now that I have the dual blade set up, the select cut setup, I guess, it does an awesome job. Super happy with the lawnmower now. The shop vac, probably one of my favorite things so far. Really easy to use, compact, easy to store, easy to wheel around. It's got castering wheels in the front, and just a reliable household tool that my wife is willing to use, which I love, especially because it doesn't ruin our other inside vacuum. Power broom or power brush in regards to garage floors, keeping them clean, does an amazing job. Use it for dethatching. Again, you flip it over, it gets all of that debris, all that grass out of your lawn. My neighbors, actually 2 of my neighbors ended up borrowing it this year once they saw me, and they were shocked at how well it did it. So there was no need for me to buy a separate tool. Leaf blower is a leaf blower. Powerful, strong. I use this all the time. Typically there's a battery sitting on here just because I use this constantly, especially in the summertime. The snow shovel works great. Smaller areas only though. You're not going to do a 3-4 car driveway with this thing, super long driveway, but great for side drives or side walks, your deck, which is where I use it most of the time. Again, hopefully I found some video for you all to see that. The hedge trimmer is really good. It is just a hedge trimmer. There's nothing special about it. This, if you're going to get a weed whacker, you need to get the multi-head unit, but you have to get the carbon fiber edition with the auto wind on it. Now it's possible Ego has a version that has the auto wind that's for the aluminum version. All I know is that at the time when I bought this, this was the only option, and I do not regret spending a little bit more money on this unit compared to the other unit. That wind functionality is just fantastic. Absolutely love it. Chainsaw has worked great. No issues with that. Cut down the limbs that I needed cut down. Was really easy to reach, which I really liked, having it on the pole like this. Storing it, you got to be careful. There's a little hole up there where the chain oil goes in, and as you can see, it will start to come down over time. And the, I guess, cultivator, dirt digger guy, for gardening, this is a must-have tool if you need it. So, multi-head unit, carbon fiber, we already talked about it. Be sure you get the right one. It's got the dual speed on it. One thing that you're probably wondering, why don't I have an edger in here? It's probably the one Ego accessory that I just haven't bought yet, because my weed trimmer up here, I just turn it sideways and use it as an edger, and that's how I've always edged. I've never really had a dedicated edger before. I shouldn't say that. This is just too convenient to edge that way. I'm sure if I got the edger, I'd probably use that as well. Maybe I'll get that one pretty soon here. And the random one has to be the little sine wave inverter here. Power some, lightweight accessories that require a wall outlet, or even charge USB-C devices or USB devices. Plus it's got a little battery, or I'm sorry, a little light on the bottom side of it. So that's it for Ego and the Ego ecosystem. I hope this video helped everybody out, seeing the potential and how it can work in practicality. Please let me know if you have any questions on it, if you want to see something in use specifically, and I'm happy to show you more video on that. So till next time, take care everyone.